You create with your minds the very thing that you do not want. But the good part about this is that you also create with your minds the things that you do want. And as soon as you can gain control, as soon as you can have the mental maturity of actually being able to control the way that you're thinking about things, then you essentially 100% now have the creative reins for your life to create the life that you want. Now, I mean, I know that you always do, people are like, focus on this and you can live your dreams and you can do, it's true. You can do the things, you can do anything that you want to do, but if you want to do those things and actually have a wonderful heavenly experience while doing it and not be set back by all kinds of pitfalls that are essentially your karma coming back around to get you, then you just need to be more mindful, more thoughtful about your life and the processes and the things that you do. So think about this. If you are living in fear, now there would be many reasons why, but I'm going to use the example of disease in the body, so physical issues. If you are living in fear of getting a certain disease, perhaps a parent has had it, perhaps you have seen this in your family. At some point, if you are living in fear of some type of disease, it is because there is some kind of belief that is there. And when we have certain beliefs that allow disease into our body, we create it. So we can do this through fear, we can do it through fear of that actual disease, or we can do this in many ways, just by not emotionally addressing certain things in our life can also cause actual disease inside of the body. I made a course several years ago called Healing Your Past to Fulfill Your Future. And one of the elements that was in there was about healing the physical body. I had already been working long enough that I had seen with clients that the disease, that the ailments, that the things that they're holding inside of their body, even if it's like a sprained finger, even if it's a case of tennis elbow, locked shoulder, even if you have been in some horrific accident and there was, broken bones or several involved, they are all emotionally related. I've regressed sports players back to the moment of injury and what were they thinking at that moment of injury, and there is always something significant about it that when we heal it, the injury heals as well. So you can't just, willy-nilly think these fearful thoughts and expect that there's not going to be repercussions from them. There is repercussions from the negative things that you're putting out into the universe. So let's say that you have seen a parent pass, and so you're like, oh, this is genetic, maybe you've even done testing, and so you are maybe perhaps prone to it, and so that this has created a feeling of fear about a particular disease, a particular something inside of your body. Well, what happens every time that you think about that? So if that was the case for you right now, if not, like apply this to something else that's fearful, like whatever. Okay, so I want you to think about that fear, bring it up and notice the tension and the places in your body that you're holding it when you think about this. So anytime that there is tension, anytime that there is stress in the body, there is a belief that is present that is creating this tension and this stress in your body. Now, what happens over time when we think these same thoughts, these fearful thoughts over and over again, is that they begin to take away, they're depleting that part of your body's energy. So let's say that you're feeling that tension or that stress, I don't know, wherever, you're feeling it in your chest or something like that. Okay, so every time that you think that, every time that you feel that, that energy that's supposed to be present in there, now it's getting depleted. But I want you to think about this. Your cells are made of light. So they're just made of beautiful light. And so now any time that there would be some type of disturbance, and these disturbances can only come up emotionally or physically or mentally. So you're thinking about something, you're feeling something, or there's maybe some actual physical constriction on your body that is creating this. Now, anytime that this happens, that depletion of energy is going on. So if you've, like, let's say in your life, because we're using that still example of disease, how many hours or how many minutes or how many times throughout a normal day would the thought of that thing, so either a fear about it or something along the lines that is not a positive thought about that particular thing, come up in your life? Think about it. Is it 10 times? Is it 15 times? Have you noticed? Have you paid attention to it? So now, from here on out, be more mindful of it, that anytime that it's come up, or that it comes up here in the future, know that this is not the way that it is meant to be. And that any time that we have those feelings or those thoughts that now have, perhaps now have manifested in your body as some type of physical ailment or discomfort or whatever it happens to be, anytime that is then they're present inside of your body and you're depleting its energy, you are reinforcing this thing. But what you're actually doing is you are not living in divine truth in these moments that you're thinking these things and that you're believing these things, because the divine is perfect health, perfect nutrition. It wants every good and wonderful thing for you. It wants you to be protected, under protection and safety. It wants you to be cared for, nourished. It wants perfection for you. But the thing that, in this case, you can even see it right now, the thing that is keeping that from flowing to you is your beliefs, and your beliefs come from your mind. So it is your mind that is controlling your physical body. So if you were to get out of the way of your own mind and just let the divine flow in, well, of course, healing would then take place. But in order to do that, you need to understand how the divine mind actually works, which is why, studying the Christ letters, healing your past trauma, working through ego drives and things like that is so vitally important if you're on the path to spiritual enlightenment, which, let me tell you, all that you need to do is set an intention of, I want this enlightenment to come, and then believe that at some point when the timing is right, it will come to you. And then make time to study, study the Christ letters, make time to just meditate, to be in the divine flow. And every time that you do it, just set the intention of connecting with the divine, and you will. Your intention is everything. So if you want some type of really profound enlightenment, ask for it and believe that you will receive it, and you will receive it. But if there is beliefs around it, like you're not deserving of it, or that's not for you, or it's for other people, it can never happen for you, whatever it happens to be, then you're also right. Those are beliefs that are there. So you need to heal those beliefs, those specific beliefs around that, that would be stopping you from anything. So let me give you an example here of a way that you can let something go. So let's say that you've had something that in particular has been bothering you. You have some issue from the past that has left you maybe in fear of it happening again. I will use myself as an example here because I feel like I am supposed to do that. So I was betrayed by my ex-husband. He cheated on me. I had no idea that this was going on. I was completely betrayed. We were married for 18 years together, off and on, but together for 24 years. So I didn't see this coming. I thought, he's just choosing me every day. Of course, life is not perfect if you're married for 18 years. known somebody for 20, you know that it's not perfect. But if you are really blindsided and you don't see something coming, it can really throw you off and cause all kinds of issues. Now, the problem with this is, so now that this has happened, now that there's been this betrayal and I've had to deal with this and I've had to heal, and I've had to grow, a lot of powerful, positive things have come from it. I've gained a lot of strength and a lot of power within myself. It is a wonderful gift. I already recognize that. I already see it. I've already done a ton of this inner healing. However, there's this little element still attached to it of fear that is there of, what if I gave myself to, somebody else again, and trusted them, and then they betrayed me again. So what happens if I don't heal this, it is inevitable that my fears will come to fruition again in the future. This is why, I made the mental cleanse series so you can heal your past, like actually subconsciously heal your past. Now, some people, everybody's different, so you might need private work to, like, this is my specific issues, work through the whole, series there. And then if at the end you're like, okay, oh, I feel 100 times better, but, this and this is still kind of bothering me. We need other people. I've needed other people to help me through things. I have a good friend that anytime that I'm like, ooh, stuck, I'm like, okay, hey, dude, let's do a session here. Sometimes I just need it. So if I had that fear, or have that fear within me of this thing could happen to me again, that fear I am projecting out into the universe. Now, as I do that, what I'm really saying is that I want that. And when I'm projecting it out there, even though I might be saying with my mouth, I don't want this to happen again, the universe does not recognize the words I don't want. It just recognizes the thought and the feeling, the emotion behind it. And it just thinks that that's what you want. So if it's something that you don't want, then you need to heal this in your past so that it does not repeat again, so that you are subconsciously not expecting to experience it again in the future, or you will. So I have had so many clients, and it doesn't matter what the specific issue is. It could literally be anything, but it will affect that person from the time that they're little over and over and over again. So an example of that might be an abusive relationship. Perhaps their father was abusive, and then the subsequent relationships that they've had, this boyfriend was abusive, then the next one, and then the next one, and they're on a cycle. Well, they're on a cycle. First of all, there's something that they need to learn from this experience. I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. I'm not even saying what happened to me was a bad thing. At the time, it felt like it, like I wanted my life to be over. It felt like the worst thing. It was the worst thing that had happened to me up until that point in my life. But these things that come from it are so good that it makes those perceivably bad things actually not bad. It kind of makes them a gift. There's that saying, and I can't remember who said this, but it's, someone gave me a box of darkness, and I realized that this too was a gift. We don't realize when we're in the dark that it's a gift. It's not until we get out of it, until we get into the light and we see, like, oh, all these things that I've gained, all these lessons that I've learned, all these wonderful, powerful things that came from it. Oh, I got so much strength, or whatever it is, that you then realize, like, okay, you know what? That thing wasn't desirable, like I didn't enjoy it or love it, but it was a good thing because so much good did come from it. And so, even now in my life, if something, perceivably bad happens, I look at this as like, no. And you know what? Bad things don't happen, but anything, a bad day, okay, well, this is a good thing. I don't know why yet. I'm just going to go through it. But it's a really good thing for whatever reason. It's needed, it's necessary. And then when you're going through that bad day, instead of like, oh, it's bad, and putting out, complaining, criticizing, condemning, putting out more excessive negative energy out so that you can reap that in the future, instead of doing that, no. Chill, find the calm inside your body, and put that out into the universe, and then that is what you receive back. It's so important to be so mindful of what you're sending out through the actions and through the spoken words and through your thoughts. So important to be mindful of this. So back to the topic of disease. So if you had something physically that was going on in your body, oh, you got a sore shoulder, oh, you got whatever you got. Okay, all that has happened is that there has been a lowering of vitality in that particular part of your body. It has happened, like I already explained, because the energy that's supposed to be there is being used for something else. It's being used to worry or to judge or to be fearful or whatever it happens to be. So how you can perceive this in a different way is to imagine that there's one mind that connects everything. They say everything's connected, it's all into it, and it truly, 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 truly is. I've experienced it. And it's all connected. It's all connected essentially by divine love, by that empty space, apparent space that's in everything, which is just divine love. This is what is in everything. It's all in all the visible matter that you see around you. It's literally in everything. Now, what happens when your mind gets in the way of this divine love? It gets in the way of it anytime that there is pushing. Okay, so if I'm criticizing, I'm pushing. If I'm angry, I'm pushing. Anytime that I'm living in anything lower vibrational, jealousy, revenge, vengeance, anything like that, I am pushing away. And so think of it like this. Your body tenses up when you think about those things. When you think about revenge, anger, tightness, tension. So think of this as pushing, right? Because your body is tensing. So it's essentially trying to protect you from what's going on around you, therefore pushing it away. Okay, so anytime that you do that, you're stopping the flow of divine life, of divine love that's supposed to come into your body. Anytime that you do this. So how many times a day do you do this? Like, is it 1 or 200 or 300 times? You drive by something, you're like, I don't like that. Ooh, that's ugly. Oh, I hope that person doesn't show up. Oh, I don't like this. Ooh, what about that person? Ooh. How many times do those thoughts come up in your life? It's hell. It's actual hell. You are creating it for yourself through the thoughts, through the actions, through the spoken words. Now, if you don't want to experience hell, then you need to change your thoughts and change the actions and the words arising from those thoughts. So I know that this can be a difficult thing to do when the visible reality that is literally in front of your face, you've created it, every tiny little bit of it. That can be a hard pill to swallow too. Been there. When you're married to someone and they cheat on you after 18 years. Been there. It's a hard pill to swallow. But when you can accept that this is so, that your fears manifest in the world, and that what you're putting out there, you get back, you become a whole lot more mindful, and you can change it. Until you acknowledge this and until you accept this, that every piece, and I'm talking 100%, there is no coincidences, none at all. Until you can accept that 100% of your reality you have created, you'll continue along the same path that you're already on. And if you're on that, same path of blaming other people or just allowing yourself to speak words and think thoughts and take actions towards things that are not made of pure love, then you're creating karma for yourself in the future that you're going to have to deal with at some point in the future. Do you want that? And so I say all of these things, if you're living in fear, you're creating it. If you're doing, you're creating these things, you're attracting them into your life. But the opposite works as well, the good. So you can create right now, in the second, you can create good for yourself from now on. You can just decide that anytime that those old thoughts come up, no, you're not gonna do this anymore. You're not going to indulge in vengeful thoughts. That you're not going to indulge in these, angry thoughts. And I'm not saying you're not allowed to be that way. Don't tell yourself, this is the worst thing you could do. Don't tell yourself, I don't want to feel this way, and then push it away. No. Okay, if you're angry at somebody, it's okay to be angry, but choose. So sit in it for 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes, and tell yourself, it's okay to be angry. I'm allowed to be angry. I'm allowed to be angry. And as you give in to this feeling and you let yourself, you'll notice that it will ease off. But give yourself that time. And then if you need to work through something, set aside a time. Maybe go to a hypnotherapist. Maybe go to another therapist. Go to some counseling. Do some type of something. And set aside a time like, okay, well, I know that I'm going to deal with this thing in 2 weeks from now. Rather than think about it all day long, sleep thinking about it, go throughout your day thinking about it. It's not helping anything. What you're doing is driving yourself crazy, and you are pushing away all the good that's supposed to come to you. And you're doing it multiple, maybe 100 or 200 times, maybe 300 times a day. You're pushing away the divine love that's in everything. You're pushing it. So if you don't want to do that, then you need to make a decision like, okay, I'm going to deal with this thing. Finally, let's say that you're pissed at your parents, that your parents weren't perfect. You know what? Most people's parents weren't perfect. And the ones who were, they're so blessed and they're so lucky, but they will have something else. They'll have something else that's their struggle that they got to go through. So let's say that your parents weren't ideal. And so maybe you even blame them for things. I was pregnant when I was 15, and I did blame. I'm like, why was I allowed to stay at my boyfriend's house? But I blamed, like all of the things. My dad was not an ideal father, especially as children. And there was a lot of blame and anger and hate that was there. And any time that it would come up, and it was pretty often when I was younger, when I was in my 20s, it was pretty often that I would just think about him and be pissed off. If you have someone in your life that really makes you angry, this is something you need to heal and forgive, because it will set you free. It has nothing to do with the other person. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. This is about you healing and setting yourself free, because if that person still has that much control over you, that you think about them all day long, that you're giving your energy that's supposed to be in your body away, and you're giving it and you're putting it in their direction, they still have control over you. So do you want that? Obviously, you don't want that. And the only way to heal that is forgiveness. I know it's talked about in the Bible how important forgiveness is. And trust me, I know it's a very difficult thing. Like I'm telling you, you've heard these videos before. It took me 18 years to forgive my ex, my oldest son's father. 18 whole entire years, because I just didn't want to look at it, didn't want to think about it, didn't look at it, didn't think about it. And so it was sitting there for 18 years unresolved. Even my ex-husband that I have here now, because I have learned from the past, from forgiving my father, from forgiving that abusive ex-boyfriend, and then now having to forgive my husband, I learned the damage that's done when you don't forgive. And I knew it was so important that I forgive him so that I could have control of my own life, and so that I wouldn't be putting out any negative karma into the world. Because sure, I could direct it in his way, he would suffer. I don't need to do that. He has karma that is coming to him, and it has nothing to do with me. It's his actions, it's his things that he put out. Whatever he did, he will get back, and I can't have any control over that. I could try to create some bad karma for him, but what would I be doing in doing that? Is creating it is for myself. And so I don't want to do that. So when I left, I decided I needed to absolutely 100% forgive him. And so I did. There was no harsh feelings that were left after I went to my cabin, had another illumination come through, and realize, like, oh, what a gift this really is, and truly and deeply forgave him. Now, forgiving somebody, oh, it's wonderful. Even me talking about that right now makes me feel like really good and calm and just great. So that I would mention that. But anytime that okay, so now I've forgiven, but what is still lingering there because of what happened? What feelings are left there because of what happened? Is there fear that this will happen again? Well, yes. So I didn't even recognize that until literally today, like a couple of hours ago. And I kind of did a self-assessment because I was listening to this YouTube video, and they said something about, well, I think it was astrology, maybe said something about this coming up and blah, blah, blah. And, there's something you need to let go of. And I'm like, man, like what? Like I couldn't even figure something out. Like, what do I need to let go of? But I believed it. Like I knew that this was true. And I was just trying to figure out, like, what is it? It did feel like there's something I need to let go of. And it's that. It was that bit of fear, maybe a fear of abandonment, although I wouldn't say that that's necessarily the accurate description, because it wasn't a fear of betrayal, I guess, and whatever, encompasses that. And so then I was told, okay, well, there's 15% of that feeling that I still have left. Okay, well, I'm just going to work through this right here. So is there something that I need to learn from this? Yes. Okay, so what I really did learn was that my fears manifested. I used to have visions of him doing exactly what he did. And, I didn't think that there was fear attached to it, but I would always try to talk myself out of it, like, oh, that's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. But I realize now this was subconsciously driven. So how? Like, did I create this? Was I picking it up from his energy? No. 100% this was on me. What you've created in your mind becomes your reality. And so I would say probably over the years that I was with him, that vision of him being with somebody else, betraying me, and I knew the circumstances of it, was probably 200 plus times that this had come up. Maybe, like, this is totally just a guess. 200 times. That might seem like a lot, but I want you to think about whatever issue you've had with somebody else, and have you thought about it 200 times? Hell yes, you have. Hundreds of times. If this has been something that's been going on since childhood, you have thought of it thousands of times. Like 1 year alone, if it only came up one time a day, well, you got 365 times there. 3 years, you're almost at 1,000. Like, I mean, we're creating these things because we're allowing them to be there. Now, some might say that this was a warning, that I was seeing this because I should have known. I was predicting the future, but I know that this is not true. I used to believe, when we stopped the wind when we were younger. We were out in a canoe. Anyways, we prayed. I was there with a couple friends. We were young, and we stopped the wind. And I had told my friends, like, dudes, it's windy out. Like, let's stop the wind. And they're like, what? Like, how is that possible? And I was like, well, we just pray and we ask, and it'll happen because we ask for it to happen. And so that's exactly what we did. Friend prays, I pray. Immediately the wind stops. Now, I thought, throughout the years, I had wondered, how did this come about? But I understand fully now that it was the belief. I had been told, where two or more of you come together, I'm with you, and all you got to do is pray for what you want and you'll get it. So I believed that 100%. I still believe that 100%. So it was the belief, and it changed our visible reality instantly. From wind to zero wind in literally a second. The second the words came out of my mouth, it stopped. So there is no coincidences. These things that we think about, these things that we subconsciously believe could happen, they come to fruition. So we need to deal with them. We need to let go of the past, and we need to mentally cleanse it away, and we need to heal it so that these things don't come up again in the future, so that your energy system is open. Because when it's open, then the divine can just flow in through your body, and every good and wonderful thing comes to you. It's a good, and every good and wonderful thing flows into your life. So be very mindful today about your thoughts, and don't be afraid. If you are fearful about something, ask the divine for help. So if you don't know how to let go of this particular issue, this is what I'm going to do as soon as we're off here, as soon as we're done. Present your issue to the divine. Say, hey, divine, this is my issue. Thank you for resolving it for me. And then put a timeline on it, like by the end of the day, within the next hour, within the next 15 minutes, whatever it happens to be, and just believe that it will happen, and it will happen for you. The divine is here to help us and wants wellness in our life, wants perfect health, wants us to be healed and whole at all times. The divine wants this for us. So, as I said, everything is connected. It's all connected by one mind. So think of this one mind as just all the consciousness that is out there. It's just consciousness. There's just one mind. But I want you to imagine that that mind is your mind. And so what barriers, what limitations have you placed in your life? Clear them away. Cleanse them away. Do you believe in disease? Well, all you need to do is eradicate the belief, and it is gone. The divine does not believe in disease. The divine believes in perfect health. It is humans, it is our mind that creates this and that causes this through our ill thinking, through not thinking heavenly and properly in a pure, loving state. We bring all of these evil things to ourselves. We're doing all of them to ourselves. So clear away, cleanse away any limits, make notes, make lists, write it down. What do I need to work on? And then just work on it. It's all about personal growth. And just recognize the karma comes back around. Whatever you're putting out, it comes back around, especially the good. I mean, I say especially, all of it is just especially, but just focus on the good. And so focus on putting out some good today, and know and expect and believe that good will come back to you rapidly, and that you will have proof. You will have us ask for it. Ask for proof, ask for a sign that this good and wonderful thing that you're going to do today, this good karma that you're putting out, that you will get a sign that karma will return to you tenfold immediately, so quickly, and you'll get it. So, as I said, I'm going to get off of this here. I'm going to deal with that little 15% in my energy that was there that had a bit of fear still attached to it. So we're going to deal with that, and I'll tell you how that goes in the next video. Love to you all. I hope you guys have the most wonderful day. Thank you for staying and listening and tuning in. Love you guys. Thanks for liking, sharing, subscribing. You can even hit the notification bell so that you know when I drop a new video. I'm trying to make these, I say trying, we're not supposed to use that word, it implies failure. I'm making more videos for you guys here. I have set aside more time to do that. However, I am swamped with clients for the next while here, but I'm just gonna make time to fit this in. Anyways, I love you guys all. Take care. Have the absolute best day, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.